Welcome, it's SVPod. Stanford Steve is in the building. Red is not getting a bath.
Oh, Monday bath.
He smells like a bag of Fritos right now. Not great.
Not his fault.
No, exactly. He's a dog. What are you going to do? I haven't seen you in... I almost came in here and ran over and hugged you. This is like the longest you and I haven't seen each other, at least in passing, in I don't know how long.
Yeah, and now that's over because we got a whole dose of each other coming up now for the next couple months between Stanley Cup, NBA, PGA. I cannot wait to talk about the golf.
Okay.
Golf is hot.
It is hot.
Boys are balling. No, it's your kids have school today?
Yes.
We didn't have school.
Oh, I mean,
and that's the thing. Like, we're a different school system. So, like, our spring break was last week.
Mm-hmm.
You were at the Masters the week prior. So, yeah, we've been off. 30A, took the family, watercolor, the whole nine down there. If you haven't done it, I could not recommend it more for families. There's a spot on the water with a hotel. They got rooms, but then they built these neighborhoods and all these houses, and you're in this watercolor resort neighborhood, but you have access to the beach. You have access to, I think it's 8 pools. First day, we found the water slide pool, Lazy River, which turned into the Crazy River pool. So it was a bounce of beach in the morning, golf cart it, which the girls absolutely loved, had to say no to trying to drive it because it's basically golf carts are cars there.
Oh, yeah.
The way they built it. I guess we got to do beach rankings because that sand, the girls were calling it oatmeal. That's how soft it was, like when it got wet, man. White sand, not a rock or a shell in it, bluish water. But yeah, if you get a chance, it's technically Santa Rosa watercolor. Stop in Atlanta, fly over to Panama City. But yeah, relaxing. Waves are still undefeated.
Undefeated waves.
I mean, 8 o'clock every night. Kids are. I mean, we had to go out to eat at like 5 because I could just see, if we have any cures for the under the eye. So, like, I'm convinced now the bars don't even work. You got the hard stick bar.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are immune to it.
Do they wear goggles?
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's the issue. I think that you throw the sunscreen on. I think the goggles like rub it off. Then at some point you lose the goggles, and now you don't have any SPF under the eyes. And then you have these bright red eyes, no matter what you do.
Yeah, it's so no injuries.
Thank goodness.
My oldest actually had to tap out. Like we were leaving the house at noon, and 10 o'clock in the morning, she's like, Dad, I can't do it. I'm like, what do you mean you can't do it? She's like, I everything hurts, and I feel like my body's going to shut down. I'm like, go lay down. We got the house for another 2 hours. But the oldest tapped out, and, we got connecting flights, and we got everybody there. You're losing an hour flying east. A lot of factors. Kids were troopers. So
love to hear that.
Yeah, anybody wants a spot to go. It's absolutely fantastic and relaxing. Like I said, the watercolors, families, when you get outside watercolor, that's obviously where you have your locals and your youngsters and your bars and all that. So it's got it all. Spectacular place.
I was here working, no big deal.
We were working the week before when you were
at the Masters.
That's not working,
isn't it? No, it's don't tell anybody. Best week of the year. It has been a while though, because I was
Monday before the Masters. We chatted, and then your phone broke.
The Tuesday
after the national title.
Correct. And Gators. Did you notice the flag outside the house?
I saw it. No, I saw the cover off the pool. That's what I saw.
Almost time. But the flag. There's here in the state of Maryland, as you might be aware, we're very flag proud. And so we got a Maryland flag that's been up in front of the house for a while. It is down at the moment. There is a Gator flag flying proud. Wifey said, figure we'll leave it up for 3 months. I'm like, 3 months? I mean, hey, I guess the ring.
Zip code here.
Exactly. That's right. This is not Alachua County. I believe I got that right.
I know.
That's where Gainesville's at. Hey, that flag will continue to fly. But between the Masters and then Steve's family trip, it's been a while since we've been face-to-face. And right now, we are in the deep, hip deep, waist deep, neck deep in a bunch of great stuff because you've got Stanley Cup playoffs, pucks drop. NBA playoffs, first games are all in the books. Draft coming Thursday. Red Feldman's, always loved to read his Draft Confidential, where you get Bruce Feldman gets great insight from OCs, from like college folks, from the NFL, sort of what are people saying about this position group, that position group, reading all the different mocks. Shout to McShay, always interested in what he's got going, doing stuff with the Ringer now, obviously.
Yeah.
And just, I just would say this. I'm so glad I don't live in a world where I have to do a mock draft because it seems like guys grind so hard and you're just guessing and everyone lies to you about what they want to do. By the way, I don't think anyone after the fact really is like going to heckle you over your draft.
Yeah, it's a lot. I think we appreciate it, though, because we do follow, we're into college football so much. So half the battle is the players, right? Where you have, and that's the whole, I don't even know what this whole spectacle that's become the draft, right? Because you have everybody on one side. Like it's nuts. Like the NFL fans don't care. They just want to know who's going to help their team. Can they, and then you got the fantasy deal. So like it's this perfect storm of everything. So everybody has opinions on it. And like I said, it's one-sided. What I've found that's really, really hard to do, and that's why I respect your Schefter, your McShay. I mean, they have obviously sources coming in. How do you believe them? Like that's a trust thing. Like you feel good because, like if you're not reading a friendship supposed friendship right, and you get fed the wrong, like you're going on TV and you made like an idiot.
Yeah, well, but there's I don't care how good of friends we are. I mean, if I could lead any one of these insiders down the wrong path to benefit us, that's exactly what I'm doing. So you got to develop a lot of sources. And I mean, reading the room at the moment, there's just a lot of chatter. I haven't seen a draft trade yet. This is the closest we've gotten without a first-round pick trading
Montana,
hands.
right?
Correct. That's the last time we got this 93. Far down the road without somebody. Something will happen between now and Thursday. Let's
hold on. What do you hate more? This pre-draft mock season or the immediate post-draft grades?
You know the answer to that. Hey, Scott, we're going to do draft grades. No, we're not. You don't want to do a draft grade? No, I sure don't. Why not? Because nobody has a fucking clue, including the teams that just took the players. Why do we do this? Draft B-. Say anything. Just make up anything. Who gives? It doesn't matter. And you don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. It's a little Andy North. Oh. Inside the Beltway. But truly, people can't possibly know. So I don't mind the speculation. Speculation's fun. It's the fuel for the engine. But the grade bit, you can miss me with that forever. Let's couch table whatever this NFL draft stuff because the playoffs got going this weekend. And I was trying to figure where do you start. Oklahoma City was ahead by 55 points in a game on Sunday. I don't know if you saw it. Any of it?
I didn't move from the couch Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Give Memphis a little bit of, you played in San Francisco, close game you lose, come home, roll Dallas. Ja, how's the ankle? Couldn't feel it. He told me that on SportsCenter afterwards, which I had a feeling I just wanted him to say that. And then that's Friday night. Then Sunday morning, first game, you're in Oklahoma City. And you're playing a team that won 68 games. Give them a little grace. That doesn't explain being down by 55 points. This Oklahoma City team they're just a buzzsaw. You look at metrics, offensive and defensive efficiency. We've used the word connected a lot about how much everyone seems to be pulling for each other and pulling the rope in the same direction. It's just one game. Josh said it. We can't play this bad again. I sure as hell hope not. But it doesn't matter how good you play because you're not beating Oklahoma City.
Yeah, and that's what the one thing I'm watching all these games. We got the TV set up. We got hockey, Mets. No big deal. Cardinals have some.
Optimism meter?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Right. Mets optimism meter also couched for the moment.
I don't want to overreact.
Of course.
These 7-game series, and
of course
everybody's got their feelings about, Stanley Cup and NBA, and we just came off the, March Madness and that. But to sit down and 1 o'clock, I sit down, I'm like, all right, I want to see what this is about. Memphis is a tough team. Just battled. You went through the row they had. They're down 63-32 in the second quarter. In that building, I've been there for playoff games. It's spectacular. They got cheated. They didn't even get to be into the game, it's 30 points, 16 minutes into the game.
Yes.
And so I turned it off at halftime. I'm like, there's no way. And the way this season has changed with teams, with the load management and Ja missing a ton of time with Memphis, and now he plays those 2 games and you have him on. He says he can't feel his ankle. I don't know what to think, but I feel pretty good that Oklahoma City's going to be all right in this series. But then I keep asking myself, I watch Oklahoma City a lot. I love them as deep as anybody. Defense, they're well deserved of their record. When are they going to get the shine that the average fan knows? I don't. Maybe it's the next series. Who did they get? They get Denver Clippers winner.
Correct.
So I think it's there because now you got bigger names and guys that have done it. But they're an absolute beast of a team. And Memphis, I can't. It's like what I watched, right? I haven't seen an NBA game like that be over so fast.
I mean, the difference between regular season NBA content and the intensity of some of these games, the Denver Clipper game was nuts. I mean, go back to the Golden State Memphis game. I mean, it feels like an entirely different sport because it is.
Mm-hmm.
You could say the same about Stanley Cup playoff intensity too. It ratchets up to a very different level. I was thinking about this. I was trying to explain it to my sons. It's like you watch an NFL week 3. I mean, the intensity is the intensity because you don't have 82 games to take games off. Having said that, this was a playoff game that felt like the ones from the tournament. OKC looks like a 1 from the tournament, and we had all 4 ones. And when you watch Cleveland, Ty Jerome goes nuts. You watch Boston, and they largely cruise over Orlando, and you figure, all right, the ones look like the ones. And I get that Boston's 2. You know what I'm saying. But Oklahoma City, and it's our fault, not just us at ESPN, but everybody in media, because the West is loaded in the back with people like LeBron and Steph and Harden and Kawhi and Jokic, guys who've done it. The East has none of that on the back end. None of it. The West does. The West's star power largely resides beneath Oklahoma City. So I guess I get it. Is it because it's Oklahoma City and it's not Los Angeles? Maybe that's part of it. I don't think people outside of Seattle, but I'm with you, Seattle, that are still like, man, that kind of real shitty that Seattle lost that team.
No doubt.
I don't think it's any of that. I think it's everything I just said before. I think the larger stars, the more established stars, reside with those teams outside of Oklahoma City. But if you haven't paid attention to them and you don't know that they're as good as they are, then you manage to just miss something from Halloween until now.
Yeah, it's, an investment level for sure. I will say it's very nice to see everybody playing. And I think the game last night, how is this team a 2 seed in the West? I give Houston all the credit in the world. You know why? Because they played during the year.
Correct.
Don't take that away from them. Is it their first time for 85% of their roster in the playoffs? Yeah. Did it look like it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset at all. And that's why I really don't want to overreact too much to what I've seen in these game ones.
It's hard not to.
Because I understand. But also, too, with this, I can remember a couple weeks ago, I said it. I was like, I would love to see the Pistons and the Knicks. And then, I see the series price. I'm like, what? Like, the Knicks are that big of a – everybody was high on Detroit in this. I'm like, they were in that game at a 21-0 run. They're winning the game. That's not over. I don't feel any different about that series.
Detroit played great for 3 quarters. Did you see that game?
Yeah.
It was really wild. For those that didn't, Detroit's playing, let's say they're dictating, but they're ahead, and they're not ahead by accident.
Oh.
And then the fourth quarter starts, and Detroit can't get the ball in bounds. And it's wild how that building, you light the fuse, buddy, and let me tell you, boom. And all of a sudden the intensity ratcheted up, and it was like a fight where one fighter is largely leading, contending, controlling, I should say. Then they get hit clean, and all of a sudden they're on the ropes. And the frenzy from New York in that building. The fourth quarter, thought I wrote it down. I might be written down here somewhere. I just can't read my writing. I'll find it. 40-21, fourth quarter. That'll turn a Detroit win and cover into they didn't get there.
Yeah.
That was a rough beat. But I'm with of all the games that went a certain way, I guess you could certainly say the Clippers, you're down 0-1, but you don't feel bad about where you're at. You're man, that one kind of got stolen from us, slipped through our fingers. But Detroit should feel, I think, really good about that. It was 12 minutes where it ought to be pretty instructive. Oh, so that's what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what it feels like when the garden turns into a fire-breathing dragon. Yes, that.
I thought Doris did a great job, too, because in the middle she's like, they're not trying to run anything. And Cade didn't play well, but he hadn't played well in them building the lead. And I don't know where this moxie of Beasley came from, but, I mean, you're gonna shake your ass in the middle of that front row after making some threes. You better be there at the end. That series has a ton of jazz. But to your point, going back again, the West, it's really eye-popping because, again, the Lakers Wolves, and I'm just sitting there, and I was glad Billis was doing that game, and one of the assistants from Minnesota, he said, has taken the 91 finals and sent it to Ant about Jordan playing Magic in order to
be the guy, got to beat the guy.
Yeah. Yep. Whether it's through him, over him, past him, whatever. And that's the way I thought, because what Ant has become as a player, he led the league in threes. That was pretty eye-opening to me. But he's a facilitator now with the ball, and then he gets hurt, and you're like, oh, no, man.
That was where the game got close enough that you started to think, maybe there was a path for the Lakers. And then,
but I still love what the Wolves bring to the table because of him. You hear how he talks about himself amongst his peers, and there's no one he's not stopping himself. I'll tell you that. And what's crazy is the trades they've made. How when they got Gobert, not one person thought it was a good idea, and then the Randall for Towns deal, which has seemed to work for both.
Yep.
But those are really, really, I think, intriguing moves when you have this superstar of Ant. So that's obviously fascinating to see what happened, because to me, I'm watching it, and I haven't watched every game for Luka with the Lakers, but it still kind of looks like he's trying to figure it out. And I'm like, it's the playoffs, man.
Well, it's a playoffs team that made the finals of the Western Conference last year. And the thing about that game, they had a stretch where they were 50% from the floor from three. They made 21 threes. And there was that stretch where they just couldn't miss, and they built a big lead. But if you watched it and you look at the box in totality and you think, all right, are McDaniel and Nas going to score that much again? No. But are you going to keep what did Ant end up with? I can
double-digit assists.
Yeah, but he didn't have like 38.
22.
He's scoring more than that in game 2. Okay, so on balance, you don't expect to get monster numbers from McDaniels and Nas, but you're probably not going to keep Ant to a number that's that low, even though your point's well taken. He did assist on a ton of stuff. What I'm saying is what Minnesota didn't feel like a one-off to me. They dominated the big people stats, rebounds and blocks significantly. And it's one thing to win a game on the road. Golden State did it. But to win it the way Minnesota won it, I asked Windhorst the other night, I said, this is going to sound like, you know me, I'm not hot take Scotty. But at the end of this series, I think there's a far less than zero chance that the biggest star in this series is going to be Ant. And I know who plays for the Lakers. I get it. But I think there's a far less than zero chance that if Minnesota's going to win this series, that at the end of it you go, not passing of torches as much as you just say, this dude right here, that guy is the next decade is going to have his fingerprints all over it. That's massive overreaction from one game.
Correct.
But I'm saying the way they played that one game didn't feel like it was a one-off.
I'm totally with you. And going back to Ant's deal of him facilitating and getting those guys, there's another major problem with the Wolves making, 21 threes?
21 to 42.
How many of them were opened? I mean, we're hopefully not going to mention the NBA team in Dallas for weeks now because I'm so tired of hearing about that. I want to talk about the teams that are playing. But you talk about the problems that LeBron with his age and Luka, the detractors will say.
Not a great defender.
And if that's going to continue, these guys aren't college kids, man. Those are going to continue to go in. So, again, long series, but I knew Minnesota would not be afraid or intimidated by the Lakers. And then somebody had this stat, I believe that's the first game won in round one the Lakers have hosted in like 13 years.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
Right, well, they've lived on the fringes of the back side of this. The West is nuts. I mean, Golden State goes into last week of the year where maybe they're this, maybe they're that, and then they're hosting a play-in game.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference between like being the 3 in the West and having to play a game last week to make sure you made it on the grid at all was like 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in flux until that last week. So, I don't know. The West is just so loaded, and then as opposed to the back in the East where it's like Atlanta and Orlando and,
I watched, we talked about everybody playing. Then, Spoelstra taps out at the end of the show. Like, oh, Jaime Jaquez, he's on the Heat.
He is. He got a lot of run there for a while.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Playoffs, man, that rotation buckles down. But the NBA in the regular season should just adopt our saying of just try.
It's a long campaign. They try when the playoffs start, though. It's amazing. Just the intensity of Clippers Nuggets was the most fun game I watched, just in terms of the shot making, the back and forth. They're going to leave Westbrook nude in the corner by design. But the beauty of that guy, the absolute beauty of him, is the total, unfettered belief that I'm pulling this, and this is cash money, baby. Like, and if it would have hit the side of the backboard, his reaction would have been the same.
Nope, he would have gone after the rebound as hard as he normally does.
Correct. Gotten it and probably fed someone else. There's beauty in that. Somebody described him as like the Mario box that, like, the question mark Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, they played music to it.
Right, but the point is that's Westbrook.
Yeah,
could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Could be a steal and a dunk on a big and an and one, or we don't need it. That late regular season loss to Minnesota where they're up, they've got the ball. You don't need it, and he goes and misses a layup, then fouls a 3-point shooter on the other end. Westbrook's that on a basketball court. But that scene, that game, a lot of people love the Clippers for obvious reasons. Kawhi is a main reason. why people say that. And then he had a bunch of turnovers, which I think the Clippers. I think the Clippers are fine. That's a game that you'd love to have in your back pocket. You probably should have gotten it.
Yeah, no doubt. I think I saw it was Russillo. I saw a clip of him saying Clippers. He feels better than he did because that happened, and Westbrook took 17 shots. I'm fine with that.
Let it rip.
Safe. I just want the book on what happened in Denver.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
I don't know, and I really like Michael Malone.
Yeah.
I really like him a lot. And it seems pretty obvious that the only way that happens is if Jokic is like, yeah, it's okay. They're never running him if he's not. And so he had to – I'm not saying he ordered the code red. I'm not saying he put the hit out on the guy.
No.
But I am saying if he was like, whoa, what are we doing? That doesn't happen.
Well, then you get just the idea of, he lost the locker room. Couldn't. But then, like, you start hearing, like, they so-and-so couldn't agree to keep KCP. They could have had this guy. No one, the ownership covets Porter Jr. Like, there's all these things. And I'm like, all these moving parts. I'm like, you have the best player in the world. Figure it out.
More money, more problems, man.
Give him some pieces. Because that roster's flawed, man.
Yes, it is.
It's flawed. And defensively, that's why I go back to the Clippers. Like, when they wanted to, they got plenty of what they wanted. And they didn't even get anything from my guy Powell. So I expect that to be a long series for sure.
Of all the games and results, Golden State winning the way they won, where they just clamped down on Houston. I want to say Green and Van Vliet. It was bad. It was like 7 for 34 or something like that.
Van Vliet makes one late to cut it to 3.
And had back-to-back looks on one possession that just clean looks. Neither of them went down. They scored 85 points. There was one 3 that Steph hit from like 30 feet where you just see Thompson just react like, this mother, like, that's what we're doing. Yep, that's what he does. That's what he does. I mean, there's a reason Golden State's favored in this series. Competitive championship DNA, whatever you want to call it. Of all the results, to me, like the Minnesota one was the most. It popped in the nose, get your attention, like because the way it happened didn't feel like it was. Like Denver got the win, but it felt like they pulled a rabbit out of a hat. Minnesota won because it felt like that they just have advantages that they can go back to again. That was the one result that I didn't expect. That is okay. Most eye-catching to me.
Was Warriors?
No, Minnesota.
Yeah. No, I said after the game, the Warriors to look like that and just to want to defensively, they had hands on everything, closeouts, rebounding. They battled. I was really impressed. I haven't seen that effort out of that team in a while in this, since their title. And they've had some moving pieces, and people are just going to talk about playoff Jimmy, but I thought he did a good job of doing a bunch of other things. He plays his ass off, man. Get him to this point of the season, it's pretty crazy. But Podziemski, all these different guys.
I don't think Kuminga played.
No, he didn't.
That's the wildest thing to me. That's one I don't get that one. Like, there's times that he's a big part of what they do, and then there's times he just doesn't.
I don't understand it.
Right?
Like 5 minutes?
Give him a
couple touches?
See what happens. I don't understand.
No, but connected defensively and how active you have to be. Because I was home 2 weeks ago. It was a late, like one of those Thursday night games or whatever. The Rockets went to Golden State and gave it to them. And making threes. Brooks was in everybody's ear.
That's the game where Steph had 3, and then Udoka and Steph got into it. I get confused.
Yes. It was that game.
And they were super physical, and it's like, you better You want to poke the bear, man.
Yeah, and so
be careful.
Like I said, I didn't know what to think. I see Golden State so favored. I'm like, I can't get out of my head that I just saw Houston bury Golden State. So, no, I was impressed with what Golden State looked like because I haven't seen that want to, and it feels like those older guys really got into the younger guys. Like, hey, man, you're not going to get many more of these punches at the trophy. So let's go make the most of it. And you saw it. I mean, I think it was unders across the board too.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, the very first one when the Pacers were like 75% through the first half, it felt like. But there were, I mean, playoff intensity on the defensive end. It's a little different than a Tuesday night when you're on a back-to-back. We've been on the road for a week. We played 5 games.
Just try.
Come through D.C. Give those young Wizards a look. Like, y'all just want to get a sweat in? Yeah. 138 to 129.
Yeah.
With 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And I don't know. There's one game in. It's just there's reaction.
Get back in it.
Huh?
Getting back in it, man. We're in it.
We follow the Stanley Cup on Monday night. Caps haven't played yet.
Rock the red.
Let's get into that. You got to either have some multiple screens, split the screens up, or you got to have good timing. I somehow had remarkable timing, managed to flip over right as the Golden Knights scored to break the seal on that game against the Wild. By the way, horrendous bad beat at the end of that one.
Gosh.
Imagine you're involved in the low and the Wild, and you're good. Got to avoid. I mean, pucks on nets, empty nets at the end. You're just hang onto your butts.
But that essence, and I'm watching it, and the whole building is standing up. And you're in Sin City. You know what people have on that game. And that's what was incredible to me because you could see it coming. And that's the one thing I don't like that rule, by the way. That's across the net. At the time, like as long as it's not touched, if it's going down the ice, I don't understand that.
Right, it's like
a ball in the air.
Correct. I mean, if exactly like is it off the fingertips? If the ball's in the air, like a puck sliding towards the net, like the shot.
I don't get it.
Well, guess what? You know how like you see in college where if like they miss 2 free throws, the students win a free 2-piece and a biscuit. Everyone in the building won a 2-piece and a biscuit on that last goal, which was the last of the weekend's games. How about Vegas? They've only ever been good.
It's unbelievable.
The topic of conversation when that franchise started is it's a spectacle, and they've made it a spectacle from the jump. But, man, if they ever sucked, it'd be a problem. But guess what? They've only been good in their entire existence as a franchise, which is amazing.
And WrestleMania was across the street. Check it out.
I didn't.
No?
Cena.
I had it on because I wanted this. It was on Peacock. I have that, so I had a free TV open. I just had it on over the corner. I couldn't believe how many people are there. It's unbelievable.
People that like it really like it.
Oh.
And I'm always careful because I see people talking about it, and then I'm over here. I got jokes. But then you know what? As the saying in my house goes, don't yuck my yum. If you like it, who am I? I'm not going to yuck your yum. People that are upset about outcomes, it's like, you understand what we're doing here? No? We're still upset? Okay. But again, I don't understand it enough. Bloodline things.
No, but like
I don't know
spectacle of it too. Like it's incredible.
Okay.
The presentation of it. Insane. And they were like 6 hours, 2 days in a row. God bless them. What a sight.
Okay.
But the hockey
Toronto Ottawa was the one that and we haven't even gotten to the Florida the Battle of Florida yet. And these are the teams that keep trading the cup, Tampa Bay and Florida. That's a first-round series, which feels a lot like the NBA's first-round series where you're like, holy crap, you're telling me Warriors Rockets, you're telling me Lakers Wolves, you're telling me Clippers Nuggets is a first-round series? We had Bucci Maine on last week while you guys were on vacation. No big deal. I was just here trying to keep the lights on in the building. Just talking about that series and how much is cooked into that. And then I think Bucci kind of nailed the Toronto-Ottawa. Toronto's supposed to win it, but it's been more than 2 decades since they've played, and there's a lot of just hostility and bloodlust that's cooked into it. And Toronto gave it to them in the opener. 6-2, I believe, was the final.
Yeah, over. Big time in that one. And it's funny. I look, again, not being dialed in. Right, I admit I don't watch regular season hockey, but I won't miss a second of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And a lot of the analysts, I give them a ton of credit. They went back and saw what they picked preseason. And like everybody had Edmonton in the West, and now nobody has them to start the playoffs.
They're pretty banged up.
There's a bunch of injuries. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doubting them still. They got 97. They're gonna battle. I promise you.
Draisaitl and it's on that handsome line too. By the way, go ahead.
So haven't spent a lot of time in Canada. Like the Ontario battle for Ontario, yep. Ottawa, Toronto digging in. Ottawa leads the all-time series. I couldn't believe that. But Toronto has never lost to them in the playoffs, and Ottawa's a team that was an expansion team, so you don't have the history. And then they show the Leafs 13 cups to the Senators 0. I'm like, I don't even think I've seen a Leafs win a cup. Right? Oh, 60s or 50s?
Of course not. You have never seen it.
And so every year I get to this point with the Maple Leafs, I'm like, is this kind of like the uniforms? Fan base is obviously incredible. They never do it.
No.
Never.
Hell, they don't win the first round series.
Yeah, I mean,
and they lose in excruciating fashion. And they show those people out there, and it's like, this is what they live for.
Yeah.
And it's not even Charlie Brown on the football. Fuck, they don't even get to the finish line to kick it. Like, they can't find the needle to blow up the ball to try to run up and kick it. So for them to win that first one as emphatically as they did, I'm with you. And the folks that have listened or watched through the years goes back to the days of I always reference Walt Podubny, which goes back to the Dubber, rest in peace. And being in Maryland in the 80s and a swimmer at Maryland from Brantford, Ontario, and he was a Leafs fan, and we would this predates the ability to watch highlights. We would get the USA Today to see if the Maple Leafs won. And let me tell you, buddy, they didn't. Okay, they sucked out loud. But we had this incredible love affair with the Leafs because it was just funny to us that these guys in a dorm in Maryland, and we sent a letter to the Leafs asking, can we get some, they sent us all these posters, like Ellicott won, and you got of Danny Daou, Miroslav Freecher, Walt Podubny wall. Like, what is this? Oh, those are just some guys that play on the worst team in the NHL. Why are they on your wall? Why wouldn't they be? Why wouldn't they be? Would you like
against the Dubber?
Want to have a seat on the couch we got from Value Village? How about a California cooler? We're going to watch Friday night videos. It's going to be a time. Simpler time, kids. Simpler times. So my Leaf infatuation goes back to then, where if it's not going to be the team I root for, Cap's got to recapture some of that mojo from the early season. I want to see them just because I want to see what happens. And if they don't win, I want to see what happens if they get close enough to win that they can almost reach out and touch the cup.
Yeah. Yeah, I every year it's so interesting to me because I kind of find myself pulling that's some serious pain, man.
Oh God, for all of Canada. Have you ever been to Canada?
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Oh wow, I gotta text my brother. My dad took us on a fishing trip.
Oh, is that the thing with the picture of the fish?
Oh yeah, I didn't catch one.
No, he didn't.
Week-long fishing trip. I mean, we drove. I remember. He was like, yeah, we went through Montreal, Toronto, and I'm telling you, we were up by Alaska. That's how far we drove in a van with. Then we got in a little.
You know, Alaska and Ontario are not close.
That's how far over.
Come on,
we drove
for what, a week?
Yeah, it was like 3 days. And then we got on this little puddle jumper plane, and they're like, yeah, the water just, the ice just melted. and we're going to drop you off. They dropped us off on this island. As we're driving over the water to the island, like you just see bears dragging dead deer. And I'm like 8 or 9, and we're going in a tent on an island for a week.
Wait,
and I wore the same clothes for like 6 days.
Was your dad on the run from the mob?
No, it was him and a bunch of other guys. Like they brought their kids too. There was like 12 of us on an island, and they dropped you off, and they came back and picked you up a week later.
I want everyone now.
I have pictures
to stop what they're doing and just realize what you're hearing. That these are all Ansonia guys.
Oh yeah.
So shout out to the Valley. Some guys from the Valley out by Groton decide we're going to get on planes and cars and drive to where bear are dragging dead deer and camp and fish.
Yeah.
For a week.
Yep.
And you had one outfit.
Well, no, I couldn't find our
the
tent
was stink like the zoo.
Oh God, it was so. I just remember taking a hatchet and going over and like taking it to the tree. I was like, oh wow, sap comes out. What a horror! Didn't catch one. Guys got stranded out in a boat. Had to get another boat. One guy almost lit himself on fire because the gasoline tripped up the leg. Oh God.
Steve versus trees. Sap.
You won't find me any more fishing trips, boys.
Wow. So wait, that's your one experience with Canada? Is this horror show?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never even been to Toronto. Haven't been to Montreal.
Fantastic.
How about the scene in Winnipeg?
Good. Oh, that's
whoa.
Yeah, they're.
And then we still get Edmonton.
I've never been there, but Toronto, Montreal, spectacular.
And Canada geography's not great.
Shout out to Banff. It's Vancouver.
Oh, I technically haven't been in Vancouver because we went to San Juan Islands. And
wait, we camped in Nova Scotia. Yeah.
Who's we?
Me, the fam, back in the day. It rained. There was a whole leak in our tent. Everything was sopping wet. Let me tell you, buddy, that one sucked too.
A wet sleeping bag?
Not great.
Ooh.
Then you got to squeeze it out and you shove it in that bag and put it back in the trunk of the Opal. We had an Opal stick shift. I did not.
How old?
Right around your age. I was little.
Oh, and remember like it was yesterday because that's how bad it sucked.
I remember this. I remember what a wet sleeping bag from Nova Scotia smelled like after the fact. It was not great. However, there was somewhere in the middle of that. That's when we were in Bar Harbor in Maine. And I'll remember as long as I live, a place called Beal's Lobster Peel. You could eat like lobster was like $2 a pound.
Yeah, it's the best.
We're eating like kings and just would smash like 8 pounds of lobster a piece and then go sleep in a tent in the Acadia National Park. So that's Maine, obviously, but then Nova Scotia, rain, whatever. So we both are a little bit scarred with our Canadian excursions.
Yeah, and I mean, you hear hanging out with Charles, he loved going to Toronto. It's like his favorite city.
Let me tell you, Toronto, that's a whole Toronto's spectacular. When I went up there for the first time covering the Canadian Open, that's when I figured loonies and toonies. Okay, those are the coins. They're worth dollars. I didn't know. I just kept leaving change on the desk. I'm like, fuck, this place is expensive. Well, you're leaving a ton of money on the counter. That's why every time I'd walk up to the bar, the bartender's like, everybody out of the way. What do you need, pal? I'm buying like whatever, Bud Heavy, and it's giving him $50. I don't know what's going on. I didn't have any money, but I just there was coins everywhere. I just left them. Loonies and toonies. People in Canada that are listening like, this idiot.
No one listens in Canada.
Oh, sure they do.
No.
They love us up there.
You notice the hockey guys call our guy Bucci Butchie?
There you go. I didn't have
Bucci.
If
Bucci, Maine. Bucci grass.
Butchie.
Yeah.
That makes sense. They say everything different.
The
best. Beauties, those guys.
Yeah.
While we've lost the plot, I have a question. When the Easter Bunny comes to your house, does he leave something for you?
No.
Your kids are like, what are you doing? They don't care? See, wifey insisted that they're, what do you want in your basket from the Easter Bunny? I'm like, I'm all set. They're like, you have to have something. Like, do I? So we went through the big production of me having to get something, a couple sweet tart varieties. By the way, you can't even find the old roll of the sweet tarts. No. They didn't even make them. Now all they make are these mutations. Sweet tart people, like, how about the roll? Big
Old
long
one. They look like quarters.
Big long silver roll.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Used to come in a giant roll just like Spree. What happened to Spree?
No one knows. All I know is now it's like, oh, no. Sweet Tart, you feel like you got to be in competition with the nerds. I get it. You got to take a crunchy thing with the squishy inside. Just give us the old school chalky roll.
That's it.
I got a couple boxes with those from the Easter Bunny. I also had to come up with something to put in there, and then it's my job to figure that out, and I kind of failed. Then Easter Bunny delivery time happens. There could have been a snake in my basket, and no one would have known or acknowledged that I existed in the room. It didn't need to happen. So what I'm saying for moving forward is that Easter Bunny can miss me because kids don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
I don't want the responsibility because it's like, what do you want? I can't come up with anything. Just put some Sweet Tarts in there if we can find any.
I don't want chocolate either. I have one or two, like little Dove chocolate eggs. But give me the Spree, Skittles, Sweet Tarts.
I'm with that too, but like a Reese's. We had this conversation. I say Reese's, and it's not Reese's. Huh? It's Reese's. The egg. Give me one of them. Give me a peanut butter cup egg. A little density, a little thicker, so the density is a little. But you figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. One bite.
Come on, dude. You've seen me eat. How do you think that goes? How do you think that goes? Think I go with a little nibble? What am I, a squirrel? I get it here and go chomp, 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 chomp. No, just in it goes. All right. That's Easter Bunny time.
Mm-hmm.
What are you excited about as it relates to the NFL draft?
Ooh.
All right, let me change it. What tight end do you like better? You can have one, Loveland or Warren.
Warren.
Loveland.
Loveland.
A lot of Loveland talk. The Michigan tight end. People, I'm seeing that chatter get louder.
Well, Scott, as a route running tight end, Loveland's got some juice in his breaks. Now, you line him up on the end of the line of scrimmage next to a tackle, it's not going to go well. I do appreciate his effort. I think he's trying to get better. I thought it was a horrible situation with Michigan in that quarterback deal, like what they had.
Right. Well, you went from a guy that went top 10 at the position, and now they didn't really throw it a lot.
But
I just think it's interesting because I like Warren. Yeah. I like Warren because I mean he's cliche football player, but I mean I go back to that, and it didn't matter because Penn State made the playoff anyway. But I go back to like that game against Ohio State inside the 1, just direct snap at the 44. I bet you he scores. He'll figure it out. Throw the ball up. He'll find it.
We could have history.
In what way?
2 tight ends going in the top 15 since the first time since 92.
Okay.
That would be cool. Revolutionizing the game at that position.
I found it interesting that people point out last year in Bowers, you had a guy that's potentially generational talent that slid because people were so quarterback obsessed, which you understand. Well, that's not the issue this year.
No.
Now, this year, if you're taking quarterbacks because you're trying to talk yourself into one, maybe outside of Ward, that again, referencing like some of the anonymous quotes from Bruce Feldman's article, that you just feel like these are strictly kind of project type players at the position outside of Ward.
Yeah. And again, I think you go in this situation. I think the draft starts. It sounds like Hunter's going to Cleveland now. So what are the Giants doing? And then
Abdul Carter.
And then what does New England do? Like that's the 4th pick. There's difference makers in this draft, but you need offensive linemen.
How about the fact that New England went into? I saw Bill Simmons he's still trying to make sense of it in his brain. You have a coach you know you're going to fire in Mayo who wins that last game, and you go from being the first pick in the draft to the 4th pick in the draft, which is the same thing that happened a couple of years ago. It was the Texans. Like the Texans won a game against the Colts. Remember that? Where I'm trying to they ran all kinds of chaotic plays, and it was the end. It was Lovie Smith, right?
Or was it that Cauley guy? They ran him after a year. Anyway.
Hold on.
The Giants won a game, too. They shouldn't have. Is that this year?
Yeah, the Giants won. The Giants had the number 1 pick, and then they won a game. New England had the game, had the number one pick. Now, they don't need a quarterback.
No.
But they'd have been in a position to.
Hunter Carter's pretty good.
I think it goes Cam Ward 1. I think it's clearly Travis Hunter 2. And then I assume the Giants take Abdul Carter.
I would think so.
Which, by the way, I would. Do I have it wrong or I have it right? Wasn't it Lovie Smith? Yeah.
Okay.
Lovie Smith.
Oh, yeah, it was.
They won 32-31. There was all kinds of just chaos in that game that involved like jump ball passes that got caught on like the last plays of games, and that impacted the entire top of the draft. Same thing happened this year with New England and the Giants.
Then they traded up and ended up getting Will Anderson and Stroud, right?
I understand that. So maybe New England gets involved in some trading of whatever else. But
no, I think it's great. I think the Genty factor,
love him,
but I love so many other running backs too. I don't know, like now for this whole process, Mason Graham, who we both love as a stud defensive tackle, has been going to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville 5, and now he's not.
But Cohen being an offensive guy, and this goes back to the COVID draft where the Bengals were going to take the tackle from Oregon that's on the Lions now.
Penei Sewell?
Yes. That was the whole thing. And I was like, nah, I kind of like Chase. That worked out pretty well. And Detroit worked out well getting so I love Hampton from Carolina as a running back. I mean, you got guys all over the place at running back. And it feels like that position had resurgence in the NFL, and obviously it's a fantasy position. So I think when those guys start to go, they're going to go. You don't have this crazy amount of receivers that are difference makers. McMillan's a guy, but
he ran like 4.6.
I wonder how he translates
I think
at the next level. Again, that's a situation.
I saw the comparison of him to being like a Pittman London sort of mashup, not a Blazer.
No,
but combination of size and hands, could run all the routes. Like, I loved him when I watched him.
Yeah, I thought he was obviously he's a great talent. I just where when I watch Drake London, he's like a basketball player boxing out, and I don't see that with McMillan. He's more of a deep guy, but you're not going to run by guys running that time. So. Where we've had this run of McShay had a thing this morning I read that wide receiver 1, which people are saying is McMillan, would be wide receiver 5 last year. And now last year was a serious class of receivers, and you saw what those guys did with the guys from LSU and Harrison, and I know I'm missing the other one. So I look at the depth of the running back, but also the shallowness of the wide receiver position when you're talking difference makers, which is what those teams need that are drafting. But then this idea of the edge rushers and everything, the last thing we saw in this league was a defensive line absolutely get after the best quarterback in the National Football League.
Yep.
And there are plenty of guys that can do it. I love the 2 Georgia guys. I don't know. I keep trying to figure out which one I like better. I don't think you can miss with either of them. So the depth of the edge rusher is huge because, and like I said, it's not a popular opinion because the fantasy people want offensive guys, but these guys are going to help your football team. And there's 10 that could go in the first round. A couple of them have some football character issues. So I'm trying to find out what teams don't have them on their board, which will give you a tell as to where teams could go. But I think it's super fascinating. Like, we haven't had the unknown of this draft and where guys are going to go, I think is super exciting and carries on for the 3 days, which I found fascinating.
Yeah, down at Augusta and was with Andy, obviously, and Sue North, dear friends, family, really in many respects, and they've got some close ties. Being up in Wisconsin with folks with the Packers, and it's going to be such a scene. They are fired up and ready to go. You and I were there.
Yeah,
our last Monday night trip of the year, regular season, at Lambeau, snow falling, and they were talking then about the draft. Like they already had stuff getting set up for what it's going to be. It's going to be like Woodstock. It'll be a couple 300 and some odd thousand people coming to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
And no one in the stadium.
Now we're fine.
And that's all we saw when you go there.
Yep. So
that parking lot, good luck.
Well, they're ready to roll. They're ready to roll.
It'll be cold beer.
Except remember when LSU and Wisconsin played, and
Lambeau.
We tried to explain, like, listen, these are two professional fan bases.
Mm-hmm.
You need to prepare. And they're like, oh no, we'll be good. Are you? They were like out of beer by Thursday because you had the folks from Baton Rouge and the folks from Camp Randall Madison that came, and they put a hurting on them. So I'm sure they'll be, as you always say, ample. They'll be ready. They'll be ready to go.
Spotted Cow, very good beer. What's that burger joint? Custer's? Culver's.
Butter on the burger. Oh, dude. North took me there. And he's like, oh, you got to have it. It was one of those, I don't think we got out of the parking lot. Because as you know, sometimes your boy will get aggressive.
Yeah.
And I took like one bite, and then it was like a multiple 3 or 4, and then it was just, can we get back in the drive-thru?
Yeah. It's spectacular.
It really is good.
Culver's.
I have other things here. I have a bunch of unrelated sort of things.
I do too.
I'd like to get to. I've been jeopardizing the conversation. Please, what do you have that you'd like to discuss?
Golf.
JT?
I watched so much of that tournament. Like I said, I really didn't move since I came back from vacation and wanted to get back in the mix, knowing that we're diving in with SportsCenter every night. But that course seems really, really cool.
Oh, Harbortown?
Yeah.
Spectacular.
But that's not where Phil won. That was Kiowa.
Totally.
Right?
Completely unrelated.
Got it.
Same state, not the same thing.
Got it. Same ocean that they're on.
There you go.
There we go. All right.
There's one on this side of the country.
No, but I'm going in, and obviously I didn't hear you. Did you compare Rory's win to Tiger's in 2019?
Just in the sense of the TV reaction on CBS. Shout out to Sellers Shy and the CBS folks that just did an amazing job, I thought, documenting the emotion you saw from him as he was walking in. He was just trying to process it. And then you watch the same walk that Tiger made. And my point is that for me, Tiger, when he gets to Charlie and Sam, will always be the all-timer. Mm-hmm. Just the noise and the sound of that place. They were really rooting for Rory. 19 in Tigers, that's the one.
That's the gist I got from talking of my folks that were on the ground. I wanted to confirm with you that 2019 will always be 2019. But the assignment of the broadcast that Sunday captured everything.
Oh, yeah.
And it was super strong. I mean, I started – because once you saw him go to his knees, you're like, holy hell. And I've been around when you've been able to talk to him. And you just always, when you see him, know that what this meant to him. And everything was in on that. So I just,
and then he let it go.
Yeah. And the walk, it's just like, holy shit, I did it. And then when he sees Lowry, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then you see the clip of Lowry saying it's all he talks about, it's all he cares about, but he won't let you in on that because that's the goal. And then for him to start the press conference with, what are you going to talk about next year? You could tell like that gets old. And you're the guy in it, and you're the only one that can control it. So all that. And then to see how many guys still went and played Harbortown. Now I get it; it's pretty close.
Well, it's an elevated event.
Got it. But all right, hey, we're right back in the mix, man. We got all the names. Let's get after this tournament. And JT comes out and shoots 61.
He did.
And you got the story of Griner on his bag now, and it's like,
it's kind of interesting.
Wow, what we got here? And then I'm watching Golf Channel yesterday, and they're showing JT and Griner's helping him out with the putter before they're going out, and guys are already starting to shoot low numbers. I'm like, this is going to be spectacular. And Scotty comes out and puts pressure on. Berger shoots a 65. It had it all, man. And you heard what did JT birdied 16?
Yep, the par 5.
Yeah. And you saw Novak, who's a guy that I found myself watching a ton. He does a bunch of like interviews that I've seen, like, and then you heard it mentioned all day. He went to Wofford. He's got this huge following, but then that roar when JT makes the putt for birdie to take the lead, you see his eyes like, oh, all right, I guess he made it. I got some work to do, and he can't pull the trigger on the putt on 18, which that's a big boy moment. When you talk about the names that you're ahead of and you got a shot to win the tournament.
Well, it's in your hands.
Like,
I think it's actually, I'm doing the math here. I want to say 15 is the par 5 at Harbor Town because Novak made a birdie on 16.
Yes.
To tie.
That's what it was.
Then the 17 is the par 3. Then 18 is that kind of famous Calabogie sound, the one lighthouse, the whole bit. And Novak's got a putt to win it. And I mean, that's like it's a life changer moment.
No doubt. That's all I can think about.
3-6. That's a lot of coin, but you win an elevated event. And now it just changes where you fit in. And he missed, and then Thomas buries the putt, and it's been a while for him. I mean, it's been a long gap for a guy that's won a lot, and that putt in the playoff was never anywhere but in.
Ooh.
And he can really roll it, and I'm excited for him. We always try to catch up at Augusta, and Television Steve Sands and I on the rain out day, I sat with him and had lunch, caught up on a million different things. And, it's he shot 62 at Sawgrass, tied the course record, put one in the water on 18 or he would have broke it.
Mm-hmm.
He tied the course record round 1 at Harbor Town.
Yep.
And had a 5-footer that he missed. We would have set it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
He's had the lead at Valspar where Hovland caught him. He's played a ton of good golf. And even at that level, even for a guy that's won, I want to say like 16 times now,
mm-hmm.
like when you don't win, it's a lot. It's not Rory at Augusta. You're not carrying that much weight around, but it's a grind, man. And so it is kind of a weird thing. This is very inside golf, but people that know, like Griner, who you referenced, Max Homa's like best friend, caddied with him when Max became like a guy, and then Max has had a rough time this year, although played well at Augusta, played pretty well here at Harbor Town. They went their separate ways. Thomas's caddy's got a back issue, so Griner's like, well, I'm here, and it's kind of weird because like that's kind of like dating your buddy's ex-girl, like how much time has to go, because that's a relationship.
Yeah.
Like
real.
It's you and your person. And so you have an appreciation for like, I don't want it to be weird, but like if this guy's a great caddy and if I can work with him this week, I'm going to do it. And I hope it doesn't bum you out. Now that they win together, now it takes a whole other, what happens now? I haven't asked him, but I'm curious, like, because he had a good caddy who's his caddy. Like, can you get wildly pipped if you win? I don't know.
Yeah, it's what is it? The intricacies of the golf world. But no, like Justin talking about, I forgot how much I love winning, and it was just really cool. He has this not matter of factness, but like he talks normally a lot, and he's had some issues where he said some things that he wasn't supposed to say. But like after the round, he's like, Joe, we're going to the playoff, and Joe's like, have you ever played with Novak? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I joined with him at the Travelers one year and played the back nine, and he was betting with some other guys. He shot a 59 that day. He's like, oh, and Griner's like, oh, really? But he's just, but then he talks about he's never made a putt to win a tournament.
That's right.
And all this stuff, and it's just you're out on this freaking island, and you see a light tower, like, because you don't really see the fans at that venue.
No, because it's really, really on.
I mean, tight when they're showing the aerials, really cool.
Yeah, because it's not a lot of space there, and it's an incredibly tight driving course, which is very different from Augusta National, and just in terms of the layout.
Fast greens.
There you go, firm,
fast, and then the stuff that looks like sand, but they kept calling it waste material or whatever.
Native area, waste area.
What was the undulation? Not a lot there.
No, pretty flat. Small flat greens.
Gotta be sharp.
That was big, and that was
awesome. Golf is on fire right now, and I can't wait to get to Quail Hollow. I cannot wait. You know, I was doing some Weiskopf won a bunch there.
The legend.
I still go back to them. I mean, people are ranking that Masters.
Which one?
Weiskopf and Jack. Oh, man.
Or runner-ups.
Oh,
or runner-ups for Tom. Oh, he was the best.
Oh.
We miss him. The game misses him. We all miss him.
How many did North play in?
Masters?
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot.
I don't imagine he played in that one.
Quite a few.
That was in his wheelhouse.
Yep.
No, but like the history of now Rory with his success, JT with his success at Quail, I think it's going to be fantastic. And we actually, nothing against Tulsa and Rochester and Louisville, like we got a big city feel, Charlotte,
Mm-hmm. Ready.
I'm ready. I'm miles upon miles. I will know that course.
We'll get out there and walk it.
Cannot wait. We talked to Xander at TGL. He didn't seem to mind but I don't want to mess up his.
He doesn't care. He's got 2 now. He's like, we're good. You can't.
JT's off a win. He's probably too big time. He did text me back this morning. I was shocked.
We'll figure it out. We'll find some people to walk with.
When's the last time you were at Quail?
Never in my life.
Really?
Never been.
Wow.
Making our maiden voyage there. That's next month.
Because the cricket club's the week before. You ever been there?
No, Steve, I did a lot of weekly travel for the Golf Channel events that we don't do, courses that are no longer in play. That's how you know. When you start going, oh, yeah, we used to do the Bell South out at Sugarloaf.
Oh.
The what? The where? Oh, yeah. Go down to Dallas, go to the Byron there at the Four Seasons. Yeah, we don't play that one anymore. Oh.
That's the one we stayed at.
That's
Dallas.
correct.
You're like, I know this hotel.
Well,
where are we going? Oh, I've been here. That's famous from you.
I don't have a lot of geographic common sense or sense at all, I guess you'd say. I don't want to get in a bad mood because I don't want to complain about the portal. I did the thing last week about the portal. Like everyone talked about the Nico situation going from Tennessee to UCLA. But the thing that I pointed out is it's like a far bigger issue. Like a guy that overplayed his hand and didn't have the market value he thought he had. And Tennessee going, well, then take your ass on. That's one thing. But what happened to Wisconsin, they got a tight end from Ball State, who's a guy named Tanner Koziel, that was thought to be probably one of the best tight ends in the portal. And he came after the Ball State season in December. Did spring ball at Wisconsin, went to the spring portal. So here's a guy that in between seasons, and he's not, I'm not saying this is a bad guy, didn't do anything wrong, you're allowed to do what he did. There are a lot of players that do this. You transfer from one program to another, then you get there in the spring, and for whatever reason, you're like, nope, maybe somebody's got more to offer. Maybe it just doesn't a good fit. You can transfer twice in between seasons. You're a free agent twice in college football. In between seasons. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's just insane. And I know that people don't give a shit about the student part, but what's so comical is if colleges are going to continue to maintain calling them student athletes, how does anyone stay eligible? I knew people that transferred in college. Like, your credits don't all transfer from this place to that place. And there's guys that are playing on 4 teams in 4 years, and they're just magically eligible. I don't know how, if you were a Ball State student in the fall semester, wherever you were for this 3-month span with Wisconsin, now you go to Houston. Like, how does any of it work? And how are teams supposed to make any sense of this when they think they've addressed a position that matters and they got a difference maker, and then that person just like, nah, I'm gone.
Kid that left Maryland was committed to North Carolina, and by the end of the day, he's going to Texas.
That's a guy that was going to go to the portal. Maryland kept him in. Then in the spring, he's like, I'm in the portal. North Carolina, no, Texas. So
in like 6 hours.
That happened. There has to be something, some guidelines of some kind. I don't know who's in charge of creating them, but there needs to be a collective bargaining. There needs to be contracts. There needs to be, because if you want to go, you're allowed to go. And this is where Billis and I disagree a lot. And Billis always says reasonable people can disagree. I think it's unreasonable to talk about, well, the coach's portal is always open. Of course it is. But when a coach leaves, they pay a buyout. And so what I'm saying is
a contract.
Correct. So what I'm saying is, okay, cool. How much did you got $750 of our NIL? Okay, you can go. Well, you know what you got to do? You got to put $750 back in our NIL. So we've got the money to give to somebody else. Like, how's that work? If you got the money from us and you get to just say, that can't happen. And the way the money's paid out, you don't get it all in one fell swoop. But it's just complete, not stupidity. It is stupidity. It's just absolute lawlessness. No rules of any kind. No salary cap of any kind. Nothing. And multiple free agency in between seasons. It's just, I can't get over the fact that this is what this is now. And that everyone knows it's like that. And you're like, yeah, what are you going to do? I don't know, something.
It's obviously we want there to be policing of some sort and have maybe a structure of rules.
That's
and that's it. How ugly the Nico thing was and is. And I saw Jim Moore, our guy at UConn, talking about it. Like he's got a live wire, and this is what I see happen is the tampering is going to get called out. And then that's going to open a door for people seeing, like, because the tampering's happened, it's going to get documented, but now it's just like what happened at Florida with the NIL when Napier got in trouble of offering the money that they didn't end up having, is that the tampering isn't with the head coach. You know, every guy's got a guy.
Of course.
And now you see these guys announcing they're going in the portal through an agent. So there's going to be a horrible story there where that gets called out, and then I think that's going to put the brakes on a lot of people because it's the Wild Wild West. That's all it is.
Everyone.
There's no rules.
None.
I'm going to go here. I'm going to take this. You're going to get that.
And then I can do it next year again because I'm a free, or I can come here in the spring and then in the winter, and then I'll leave in the spring. It's just
what the problem is also too, and old school, the issue that's the hard, and it's obviously the quarterbacks are getting the biggest money, is that nowhere in anything is the word teammate. And I would think part of being a teammate is being real with your teammates.
I think about the bond you have with your guys. Like, shout out to our guy Vela.
Yep.
And I admire so much that, and I just see it from afar, but I see, like, and this is decades later, that's your teammate, man. Yeah. That's your guy.
Yep.
There's none of that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I know.
And that's what's brutal is because you're going to have guys, you know, everybody has a podcast, but like you're going to have guys telling stories, and like you're going to get to a point where guys don't even remember a guy was on their team, and they're going to be a really good player. And be like, oh, when I was at so-and-so university. Which year?
I was my freshman year, but then my sophomore year I was at Tennessee. Then my junior year I was at Penn State. Then I went to Oregon, but then I left there because Oklahoma had. And I mean, this is where the people always say, well, you're just no. I get the bag, except you're doing what the system allows you to do. The system is what's flawed. The system needs structure. Somebody needs to be in charge. Someone needs to come up with something, because I can't think that this is where people say it isn't sustainable. Switching sports, Baylor, their entire basketball team's gone. Whole team gone. Either out of eligibility, going to the NBA, or portal. Now, the same thing happened in Maryland. Well, Maryland's coach left, and so as a result of that, there won't be one person that plays basketball next year in College Park or in Waco. And there are more. Like, shout out to my guy Tony Skinover at George Mason. I asked him, I said, how's the portal going? He's like, well, I had to replace 12 players. They won the American. Won it. We're 5 decent minutes at the end away from beating VCU, from making the tournament. Didn't quite get there, but won the A-10. 12 players. Maryland, not one player that wears the uniform next year will have played for Maryland this year. Not one player that played for Baylor next year will have played for Baylor next year. Like, the idea that fans that they'll go out to Waco and they'll come out in College Park and George Mason as well, and you'll cheer for whoever's wearing the uniform because that's what it is. But then the next year it'll just be the same thing all over again. This doesn't exist anywhere. It's literally it's like we talk about our flag football team. You got a new football team next year, except a bunch of the kids are going to be just they played together last year. Like, it's a new team every single year.
Yeah.
And for some of these players, I know, and I started to name a guy. It doesn't matter. There's a guy who was at Maryland that this was his third team in 3 years, and now next year will be his fourth team in 4 years. Okay. How are you eligible?
Yeah.
Do you have any credits? I mean, you can't even mention, like, you got a degree from Stanford. Hard earned.
Yeah.
Got it.
Took a while.
Got it. Serves you well later in life. I don't know, man. I said I didn't want to do it. Now I'm doing it. I just get exasperated because it's so completely fucked.
Yeah.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah. The never ending story for a fact. Couple film.
Yeah. You saw movies?
Did.
Sinners?
No. Got to go see it. Warfare.
Yeah. Buckle up.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You want intensity?
Okay.
It is. I can't tell you. Like, jumping on my seat, scared to death. Pretty gory, but it's just one battle scene. It's 90 minutes of straight. Holy shit! How are we getting out of this?
Okay.
It's not filmed like anything I've seen recently. Like I said, it's one deal, and I can't tell you how intense it is. We mentioned all our ringer, McShay, Bill Simmons, and what he's done with Celtic City is the best sports documentary I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
He captures that city and its greatness and its badness as a whole. Like, you want a history lesson? It's incredible.
How many part series?
8.
Okay.
All 1 hour episodes, and they go chronologically. They start at the beginning of Hour Back. Then it's Cousy and Russell. Then it's Havlicek. Then it's Bird, McHale, Parrish. Robert Parrish is absolutely incredible. He gets everybody. Jerry West talking about his hatred for the Celtics. James Worthy talking about his hatred for the Celtics. Pat Riley talking about his hatred for the Celtics. It was unbelievable. He's got Bob Ryan, Shaughnessy, you name it. They're on there. Then after Patina, the Len Bias ordeal's in there. The Reggie Lewis ordeal is in there. Patino taking over. And now you're at the last episode will be, I believe, Paul Pierce to Jason Tatum. But the way he captures everything, and I've watched everything he's done with the 30 for 30s and his Yacht Rock documentary. Everything but he nailed this thing out of the park. And I heard Ryan and him talking about, what he wanted it to be. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we had everything we wanted. I just wanted it to be great. And he's nailed it, man. It's, like I said, a history lesson. And my father-in-law got to watch. I asked him if he saw it. So I watched it again on vacation at night. The girls, like I said, 8:00. I said, let's fire it up. And that was his team. He was born early 50s. He grew up with those guys. And I just like young Tom Heinsohn, video of him. Guy could hoop.
Yeah, man.
Bill Russell. Oh my God, the way he could run, like the footage. Young Don Nelson, like all these guys. And just to see it, I'm telling you, it'll blow you away with how good it is. And obviously the legends that they have and how spoiled people were. They won 8 in a row. But to have everybody in that, it's really Dave Cowens. I never knew much about him, and you learn how much he meant to that city, and where he came from, and going back with Bill Russell and Casey Jones. And them not playing in Kentucky because they won't get served in the restaurant. Like it's a super great history lesson, but it also tells you a lot about what that franchise has meant to so many people.
I put yourself in the shoes of Simmons and feeling like this matters so deeply to you, and you have the access, and now it's on you to do it, to be great. And to hear you say this, you're not stingy with it, but for you to say it's as great as he hoped it would be, that's got to be incredible. Like, think about the passion projects that you have in your life, right? Mm-hmm. The opportunity you would have to do things that you would find interesting, or something that you would find, would be a cool story, but something that's that personal to you. Like, you are the steward of this. You are the custodian of this. You got to not just get it right, you got to get it great. And to get it great, that's got to be incredibly fulfilling.
And he has his dad in it. He grew up going to games with his dad.
I love that. I love that.
So good. Man.
I love that shared experience. I actually saw Bill and the crew down at Augusta. It was very serendipitous. Just happened to one of those very Augusta things where you turn around and you're like, oh wait, hey, there's cousin Sal. It's House. Come with me. And we actually got to spend. It was a hectic about 15 minutes, but it was just a lot of moving pieces, but it worked out well. So got to spend a little bit of time with them. Always good to cross paths. It's rare that we do. On the Augusta timeline, I have one last thing I just want to say. You get phone calls you don't know. Like, I don't know who this is from.
Sweetheart.
I see a number. I don't recognize the number. I'll do like a search, but nothing. Then I realized that it's calling again. I'm like, this is a very...
I know who that is.
This is a very... word I'm looking for. Diligent. They're on it. They want to get in touch. And then I happen to look and see there was a message from that number, and that message is from the Sunshine Scooter himself. And last week, of course, the announcement came that the first game day this year will be really a love letter and a celebration for Coach Corso as an unparalleled career comes to a close on game day. And I did one big thing on it, and to get a message from Coach telling me that he and his a beloved wife, Betsy, watched it together, and that they both were moved to tears along with his family, and then getting a chance to share that moment to think, listen, Coach, if we got it right for your family, right, then I'm glad. That's cool. And I got the same thing from Herbie. And that's really that. The relationship of those two is such a beautiful thing to watch. Herbie's got such great care and looking after a guy that's a father figure to him. And so it was just neat. Everybody took the time to send their thoughts on Coach, but to get the call back from Lee that it mattered, and we got it right. I just felt like I was speaking for everybody, and I could just say that what he gave me, I know he's given all of you that did the same thing. How much he appreciates knowing what he means, and what I said is the space in people's hearts that love college football will never belong to anybody else. That's Lee's forever. And you've done such a great job of explaining what it's like being part of game day. And I like Reese said, no one will ever put another headgear on.
No,
like that bit is his bit. Like that's not something someone else ever does. But just thinking about that last lap will be amazing.
Oh, I cry thinking about it just because I know how emotional guys are themselves. But then you factor in Coach, and I've told stories. 2 years ago we're at Army Navy, and he's going through the 2 game-winning drives that he had when he was calling plays at Navy.
Think about how much it must have meant for him, for you to sit there with him and just like give him the runway, because you're not patronizing. You want to hear it, man.
Yeah. And then Belichick comes in, and they start telling Belichick remembers practice that week about how he worked on it, and then they ran 3 of those plays to get the drive. Like that's not normal stuff,
man.
I was just talking about history with Simmons, but like this thing, man, oh my gosh. And then for this year to be at Indiana and to see him come in on the old double-deck bus that he used to do, and with his old sweater on and his old players, man, to like we got this gist of what they wanted to do, and he was going to have a sit down with all his former players. And sure as hell, who's the ball boy on that team that sneaks his way into the team get-together because he hadn't seen so many guys and just wanted to shake their hands because he remembers them from being a ball boy is John Gruden. And it's just the way he has touched so many people, but the genuineness of it. Like that's what's so different. I mean, we just talked about how bad the portal is, but like the genuineness of being able to have a moment with him, whether it's through the TV, whether it's a 5-minute conversation, whether it's a voicemail and a callback, like there's a genuineness to it. And then for him to ultimately adopt the entertainment part and say, hey, sweetheart, it's entertainment. Like,
I think Reese did a great job of explaining with the Indiana show, and then after just seeing that, and that you make a great point. Like, it's awesome dudes get money now, and they should have a long time ago. But I don't know. Ask those guys at Indiana that played for him. Would they trade some cash for the relationship that they have with that man? And I'm guessing the answer is no. And you all through the years have made that made it clear the relationships he has with those people wherever he's been.
Yeah. But
then the relationship he has with you all on the show, and then that relationship that he then has with the audience. I've done a number of one big things through the years that you want to pay homage to people, and did it for Bill Walton last year, and it's great when you can. And I'm not being morbid. I mean, coach is 90. I'm not saying coach isn't going to be with us anymore. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just, when you're going to give somebody their flowers, it's a hell of a lot better to say, here, these are for you, rather than something after the fact.
Correct.
And so the amount of love that has been shared, when I picked up, and I couldn't get through. I can't get through it now. Just trying to tell him, I was like a guy on a 10-day contract on game day a few years back when I was doing SVP and Rosillo and Sports Center and Bald Man on Campus, where I told the story falling asleep on some poor woman on a regional jet from Baton Rouge to Atlanta. Like, get off of me. It was a lot. It was a lot on your boy's plate. But I was like, a chance to be part of that show, to do some pieces for game day? Sign me up, man. And again, I was a 10-day contract guy. I didn't have a meaningful role, but that's not how anybody there on that show, made me feel. And so, that was just really, really one I'll remember. And glad it was, we hit the right notes for Lee and for Betsy and for his family.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. I got to see it the next morning. And
have you guys said where you're going to be yet?
No.
Okay. Do you know?
I have an idea.
Well, this is the worst thing to do to our loyal podcast listeners, because
we could be doing something that we've never done before.
Oh, that's a tease in the business.
All right.
You won't believe.
What's the weather? We gonna warm up? Are we good? Are we in the clear?
I don't know. It's been hot. What's your allergy scenario?
I'm good. Speaking of, though,
not great around.
I don't know if this is an allergy.
A lot of pollen out there.
I need doctors, because I cannot go out to eat and finish my meal and not immediately start sneezing. It's the damnedest thing. Every place I go.
Restaurant sneeze?
It's unbelievable. I honestly wonder if it's something like a chemical in the placemats, you put on your lap while you're eating. And I don't know.
Wait. You put a placemat on your lap?
A napkin that they rub the silverware in. You don't put that on your lap?
Hey, you said placemat. I thought you were like...
No, the napkin thing.
You guys got conspiracy theories about napkin?
I don't know. It's every single time. Why does
Steve sneeze in restaurants?
I got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, please have tissues in the bathroom, because it's 9 sneezes in a row.
Oh, you get one of those?
Oh,
you're
every time I go out to eat.
You're one of those sneezers that when you start,
can't stop.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say something.
4 or 5.
How long have we known each other? 30 years? 20 years? I don't know. A long time. I don't think I've ever seen you sneeze once in my life. I think this whole story's bullshit. I've never seen him sneeze.
Ask my kids. They hate it so much.
9 sneezes?
Oh, I'll go 9.
No, it's like, achoo. And then it's like, and then you're like, all right, I'm not going to say bless you until you're done. And
correct. I tell people all the time, don't even bother. It's about 8 or 9.
In the restaurant?
Yeah.
All right,
it's horrible.
I'm intrigued. Somebody get at us and let us know what the story is with Steve.
I don't get it.
The restaurant sneezer, who, by the way, has never once sneezed in front of me.
Ask the guys. They have his chief laughs at me all the time.
I wouldn't know because he goes to lunch with my friends. I don't get invited. Is there a lunch today that I'm not invited
to? Not that I know of.
I don't give a shit. Go eat lunch.
I got kids at home.
You go eat with your
No one goes to school anymore.
That's a good point.
Like, what are we doing?
Still on break. That
must be nice.
That reality's coming, by the way. That because our kids had like parent teacher conferences last week, and they were home, and that's when the reality hits where you're like, very soon this is going to be every day in the house.
Camps. What camp you going? I don't know, but you're going to camp today.
I might load up. I'm going to see if I can find that sleeping bag from Nova Scotia and send them someplace because they're managing a lot of the energy and a lot of butting of heads.
Sign up for one of them sleepaway camps yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But just for one for the daughter. Last year, the son said he wanted to go.
How long?
It's only like, I think it was only a week.
Okay.
But I think she said she wanted to do 2 weeks. I don't know. We need to figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
But really, we have to figure out why does Steve sneeze in restaurants?
It's brutal. I'm ashamed.
Okay. I feel like we've run the gamut.
Yeah, I think so.
Thanks for coming back. Good to be with you. We'll be back for some Sports Center.
Countdown to Quail Hollow is on, people.
All right. Any of our player friends that are looking for a walking company, you could let us know who we're in with.
I do have one quick thing.
Okay.
Had plenty of people reach out about the tickets, how we don't get tickets.
We don't
get tickets. Okay. That's been hashed out. If you see a clip of the podcast, don't act like you listen to the podcast. You just saw a clip. Just say you saw the clip.
It's fine.
Because nobody listens to the podcast. Everybody just watched the clips of the podcast.
Right, and thanks to the Omaha people for sending out the clips and just all of our friends that have the podcast. I'm like, oh yeah, I just watched the clips. I don't have 2 hours. I don't. Big Cat, Patrick, I love you. Thanks for having me on, but I don't have 2 hours for you guys. I watched the clips.
No Texas Toast this year, huh?
They had Big Texas there. Texas Toast and Big Texas very different. Texas Toast is like a garlicky entree thing. Texas.
That's what you get at Raising Cane's.
There you go. Big Texas is a cinnamony bun that's very dense.
Moist?
I'd say it's more dry than moist and very dense. But no, you just watch the clips, and that's fine. If you watch the clips, that's fine. And if you like the clips, then you could listen to the pod, subscribe, download, rate, review, things of that nature. All right. Put it on the clip.
No golfers listen to this, by the way.
No, they don't. No. But we'll just text them and see who
wants. Caddies. Get at us, caddies.
All right. We'll see
Real
you.
ones.
We'll see you at Quail Hollow. Also for SportsCenter in the meantime.